stability and development of Myanmar, the cooperation of the military is essential, and Japan will expect the commander-in-chief's leadership. Yes, leadership. A week later, on August 11, the 33rd and 99th Light Infantry Division belonging to the Commander-in-Chief were airlifted to Rakhine. 2 weeks later, on August 25th, after the cold and Arthur attack, so-called clearance operation, the two divisions which me online and played a leading role in looting, raping, killing, and arson. Everybody on the side of the Burmese state says that it was a defense. Yes, it was an interesting defense to send in advance two major divisions in order to fight the poorly armed enemies unforeseen. Interesting questions are what did Abe and me online have in mind when they met in Tokyo in early August? When did me online make his decision to send the divisions to Rakhine? To what extent did the Foreign Ministry of Japan or its embassy in Yangon follow the developments of Rakhine? What did Abe know about the meaning of me online visit to Tokyo? Now, estimates vary. Some say 10,000 Rohingyas were killed. Some say 20,000. Me online wrote in his Facebook in September 2017. The Bengali program was a long-standing one which has become an unfinished job despite the efforts of the previous government to solve it. The government in office is taking great care in solving the problem. Was the Japanese embassy in Yangon reading me online Facebook? That must have been the essential job of the embassy, otherwise it should be blamed for incompetence. But the role of the embassy is to see the truth, to the possibility of truth through the surface. It was at least possible that the commander-in-chief was leading what he thinks as the completion of the unfinished business when he met Abe. Japan's attitude to Myanmar in the unfinished business has some key words: condolence. Soon after August 25th, 17, Japan issued a statement of condolence for Myanmar. It was not a condolence of the Rohingyas, for those Rohingyas who began to be killed by the military by the thousands, but it was for the border security guards reportedly killed by ICE attack on August 25th. As of now, the government of Japan has not expressed any official sympathy for those Rohingya killed. Allegation and concern. But wait a minute, did Japan ever recognize that beside ARSA members, innocent Rohingyas were killed by the Burmese military? I'm afraid not. The satellite photos and the refugees who reached Bangladesh tell who harmed them, but Myanmar did not say that it hurt someone other than terrorists, which means that Japan has decided to refrain from calling spade a spade until its friend Myanmar calls it a spade. And Myanmar never did, therefore Japan never did. The catastrophe of human rights of the Rohingya is called allegation of human rights abuse, and the maximum Japan does do to Myanmar is to repeat its own concern about the allegation. Nation building, support, think together. Another aspect of Japan's relations with Myanmar is to stress its cooperation in the field of nation building. Though this is not clearly defined, probably this means building infrastructure, not reforming the structure of the state organization. Japan says that it supports Myanmar in this dimension. It says that it will think together with Myanmar. So in September 2017, when the world had known the massacre like Turatori or Chutpin, without any criticism, Japan showed concern but promised that its support for Myanmar would be unchanged. In Japan, is Japan a fool or a genius pretending to be a fool? The above meaning become more apparent if you contrast it with Canada's. Canada calls spade a spade, and soon after the massacre in Turatori, it begins to say, stop killing innocent Rohingya, meaning that it is not an anti-terrorist operation, Myanmar is lying. Stop violence, meaning that the state is using violence, I mean human rights abuse. Create a democracy respecting diversity. The world and Canada are against human rights violation in Rakhine, meaning that the world is on Canada's side. This is a crime against humanity. Canada keeps saying Rohingya. Everything above is missing in Japanese statement to Myanmar. Japan's message to Myanmar is essentially, We have great concern about allegations of human rights abuse, but we will never treat it as an unconfirmed fact until you confirm it. The attack by ARSA is a fact because ARSA confirmed it. Myanmar should take action toward the allegation of human rights abuse. I welcome your action, whatever it may be. But we promise to support your nation building. This is unconditional. We will never try to compel you, and Japan's view continues to be bilateral. Japan does not say Rohingya. Japan sometimes says Bengali. There is an interesting twist in the use of Rohingya or Bengali in Japan. The Foreign Minister Kono said in his blog that Japan uses neither Rohingya nor Bengali for the sake of neutrality. But this is contradicted by the fact that the Foreign Ministry of Japan signed an exchange of notes with Myanmar in 2013, mentioning the conflict between the Rakhine and the Bengali residents. The Ministry of Defense of Japan uses the term Rohingya. The Japanese ambassador in Yangon uses the word Bengali at least several times before the Burmese and foreign press. After the above-mentioned Foreign Minister Kono's statement, before the Japanese eyes, he says Rohingya. So, Japan's double talk is a bit difficult to be noticed. And there are two pillars which Japan often uses to explain its policy domestically. Aung San Suu Kyi is still an unchanging human rights heroine fighting against the military. If Japan pushes Myanmar too much, the present regime will go back to the ancient regime. Canada sent its special envoy to Myanmar to investigate itself. Japanese delegation goes to Cox's Bazar, but does not hear stories from the refugees, although it pledges assistance. As the above shows, the difference between the two comes from a fundamental point. How can a foreign country confirm its facts about Myanmar when Myanmar denies them? In a sense, denial means truthfulness. For example, when Myanmar refugees special rapporteur, UN, or fact-finding mission, the word neutrality naturally thinks that the truth must be inconvenient for Myanmar. But this does not seem to be the Japanese way. But does Japan wait for Myanmar because because of its cognitive principle? Probably not. Then the hypothesis is that this is because Japan wants itself to be slow in recognizing Myanmar's guilt and defects. About this, there are two possibilities. One is, if we rephrase this, what Foreign Minister Kono once said, Japan is trying to protect and nurture the fragile blossom of Burmese democracy. Because Myanmar is such a nascent democracy, the world needs to be soft to it. If you punish it, Aung San Suu Kyi will be weakened, there may be a military coup, and the world will lose all the progress of Myanmar in the past. But we can tell this because Japan never in any way proposed any roadmap for Myanmar's transformation. Canada at least says that Myanmar should respect diversity, but Japan did not even say that. Japan never tries to persuade other countries to be less critical about the human rights situation there. Actually, Japan is doing something counterproductive. The fact Japan tries to appease guilty Myanmar means that Myanmar learns a lesson that Japan will tolerate future misdeeds, which will make for coup d'etat, more likely. Japan is through because that is good for the economic interest. That is the second possibility. The logic can flow like that. Compare Myanmar with South Africa's apartheid in the past. In apartheid, the UK was the best partner in South Africa, and if the UK decides to change South Africa, the latter has no other option but to reform. But in the case of Myanmar, it is always an alternative. China helps Myanmar more and fills the vacuum, even if Japan tries to leave. Therefore, so long as there is China, which separates business and human rights, Japan's effort to change Myanmar will be futile and against the interest of Japan. Because the economic environment is a world of crony business in Myanmar, Japan needs to be close to the state of Myanmar in order for its business to be treated well from the state of Myanmar. And of course, the Japanese business community likes the way, and it does not have to say that because the whole big business, not only one or two, go to Myanmar. They can move the Japanese government without saying a word. But genocide cannot be overlooked for the sake of economy. Now, Myanmar is on trial in ICJ on the charge of genocide. The biggest point of contention in genocide is usually how to prove the intent to destroy a group in whole in part. In December, Aung San Suu Kyi said basically because Myanmar was defending the nation against the attackers, after the ARSA attack, it is enough to interpret that Myanmar was doing clearance operation. Incidentally, it is a bit strange that Myanmar ceased to emphasize terrorism or extremist terrorist activities. Here you have the drawings of the Rohingya children in Cox's Bazar, which are when I was there. They are very illustrated. The security forces were attacking ordinary people, burning houses without viewing who were in. Ordinary Rakhine people were armed with swords. Women and children are killed. Mutilation is often seen. Houses are set fire. The killed victims are not armed. An important observation is all victims are attacked and killed in the same manner in different villages, as if the attackers had been given the same order and the same training. The second, the slogan. You have another distribution. These are the slogans of the demonstrators in September, around September. Like Rakhine issue is no politics, it is terrorism. The second one is extremely interesting. Every extremist terrorist is Bengali, and every Bengali is extremist terrorist. No human rights for terrorists. Crack down terrorists. Now, because terrorists are Bengalis and Bengalis are Rohingyas, these messages in combination signify thinking together, which is punishable in Genocide Convention. If the embassy of Japan is competent, it has kept undermining convenient information for Myanmar, helping Myanmar to procrastinate its handling of the great human rights situation, and now assisting Myanmar to deny it. Second, Japan's current assistance to and the defense of the genocidal process in Myanmar will be a strong enough reason for the United Nations to terminate Japan's wish to join the UN Security Council as a permanent member. Third, instead of parroting the need to protect nascent democracy, Japan should present the theory of democratization and the roadmap for Myanmar if it thinks this policy is better than the criticism and sanctions. Fourth, Japan's undermining the human rights in Myanmar and the denial of genocide in Myanmar further undermines the credibility of the state of Japan in human rights matters. Japan that cannot see genocide in the present Myanmar now cannot possibly regret Japan's crimes in China during the war. 5. Japan's business should follow the rule of SDGs. In development, no one should be excluded. If someone happens to be excluded, by any chance, the development should be terminated or the excluded person should be included. 6. The business community's federal term is win-win, but this presupposes bilateral relations in crony economy. In crony economy, win-win is possible, but not enough. The business should be justified in trilateral relations, like Japan, Rohingya, and Rakhine. And finally, progress in the return of refugees can be a way to deflect criticism on the side of Myanmar and Japan. It is important to bear in mind the essence of the problem, which is to create a regime in Myanmar respecting the humanity of every minority. Thank you.
Thank you very much.